I'm Doug and welcome to Doppler's Gear Garage. In this video, we are checking out the brand new, best ever Helix 3.5 firmware update, and it is phenomenal. The folks at Line 6 are calling this the cab update because they've completely revamped the cab engine, and it is awesome. 12 new mics, all new cabinets. You've still got the legacy cabinets if you want them, but it's great. There's some new amps, like you just heard. That was the PV Vitriol. That is the Misha Mansour signature amplifier, the Invective. That came paired automatically with the revamped 412 Cali V30. Sounded amazing. Bumped up the gain a little bit on the Crunch channel. Literally wrote that riff and hit record. Great for classic rock vibe. Felt great under the fingertips. Nice and loud in the room. Felt and sounded like an amp. We're going to play and talk our way through different gear that's in this update, as well as kind of my perspective on what I was doing to get the sounds, and hopefully provide some insights for you so you can get the very most out of Helix 3.5 firmware. With that said, let's get to the next demo. Mind blown. So here's the thing. That's stock preset number 1 with the new revamped cabinet. I've always kind of hated stock preset number 1. Sounded really boxy. Now, just like before, you select amp and cabinet. But now there's a guitar menu that allows you to automatically load the suggested cabinet, mic, and placement. You still have access to the legacy cabs if you want, but completely mind blown. Didn't change anything but the cabinet. What you heard is what came out. Completely inspired, which is the whole point. Felt great underneath the fingertips. For the first time ever, it felt like a twin reverb and sounded like a twin reverb. Mind blown. Next demo. Staying with the twin reverb, that was the addition of the brand new Flexo Vibe, which, as the name implies, kind of a univibe. That's a Line 6 proprietary model, and it sounds great. Music started pouring out right away, which of course is the whole point. And it's also one of those sounds like I'm going to come back to, which is why I'm going to put it in my HX Stomp, which, by the way, this update is for anything that's got the name Helix in it. Moving on. That particular demo was doing the same thing with the Marshall 2204 stock preset that I did with the twin reverb. And I was super happy with the end results, in case you couldn't tell. So here's the thing. There's some nuance about that particular preset that I want to make sure that we cover. It was utilizing 2 paths for 2 different 412 cabinets, 2 instances of the same cabinet, but bringing up different microphones. Interestingly enough, rather than panning them left and right, they were blended together because the mixer block after that didn't have them panned. They were both in the center. After that, there was a stereo delay, which gave you that nice stereo feel, but it was blending the sound of those 2 cabinets together, which is a great thing to do. Now, inside the new cabinet block, there's some new controls. So if you select one of the blocks, you're going to see, first of all, a new menu. Gives you the ability to select a single new cabinet or a single or dual legacy cabinet. If you select one of the new cabinets, you've got this great new set of menu items. You can control the proximity of the microphone as it relates to the speaker. Closer, get a little bit more bass. Further away, less bass. You can also move it around on the face of the speaker, and there's also kind of a setting where you can actually put it right on the dust cap, which is exactly the perfect place to start. All right, we're going to talk more about this in just a moment, because when we start using dual blocks of the new cabs, there's some additional functionality that you're going to hear in this next demo. We'll talk more about that in just a sec. 3.50 is a complete game changer, not just sonically, but for how you can use Helix. First of all, in the previous demo to what you just heard, you had to use 2 different paths and a mixing block. All that stuff's now been replaced by these dual cab blocks. And you get some additional functionality to what we talked about before. When you use a dual cab block, you also get a pan control for each of the different speakers / cabs, but it's really for the speaker, right, that you got the mic on. And then the other thing is you have a delay control. And what it means is you can create a little bit of offset for one or the other speaker. You don't want to delay both because it means your guitar is going to be out of time. So here's the deal, is that you now have a huge level of control of being able to do all these nuanced things. A couple of important things not to forget. When you load 2 identical cabinets, they will automatically come with the same microphones with the same placement, which really means you're running dual mono, which is not stereo. So you're going to want to, like I did in that particular preset, just move one of the microphones a little bit and boom, you've got stereo. Or if you want to blend things together to kind of create that right blend for what you're looking for, go for it. Now, in terms of the time alignment, in terms of using the delay function, it is a really cool sound, but there are some downsides to doing it, which I would be remiss not to talk about. All right, the sound you just heard, there was a 2 millisecond delay on the right speaker. Very subtle, but in a moment you're going to hear how big a difference that makes when you collapse it from stereo to mono. Those 2 cabinets were hard panned. I was using the same microphones, but one was just a little bit offset. But when you bring it down to mono and you've got that time inconsistency, it basically makes the phase go really wonky. Now, there are some nuances to this that can be cool. That is to say, if you purposely collapse it to mono, and then you're playing, and then you kind of select the delay with your cursor on your mouse there, and then you start moving it up and down with the arrow keys, you can hear how the frequencies will shift as the time alignment changes. And you can get some really cool sounds. But generally speaking, that effect is, in my opinion, designed to be used to be hard panned. So here's where the liability comes. First of all, just about all of our mixes are going to be listened to in stereo. So generally speaking, unless you know somebody's going to be listening in mono, you're safe using it in a recording. That said, if you're going to take this sound that you've fallen in love with, you love the stereo spread, and start using it live, there is a much greater probability you're going to end up in a venue where there's not enough channels, and so they're going to ask you to kind of run everything in mono. Or if you've got a sound tech that's like, hey, let's pan everything to the center because they don't know you've got that stereo image that you really want to preserve in hard pan, it can go really bad really quickly. And to demonstrate that, let's take a listen to last little bit of the track you just heard, hard panned, and then collapsing the mix to mono, and then we'll be back in a sec. So that was pretty dramatic, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is listen to 4 different pairs of 412 cabinets. Now, why would I do that? Rhythm guitar is one of the most amazing things in the world. Don't tell the rest of the band, but basically, you're kind of soloing the entire time. You're riffing, right? So getting a rhythm guitar sound that is present, not too aggressive, but still has that right amount of hair, so it sits well in the mix. Doesn't have to be super loud to be heard. Is really kind of a nuanced thing. And what I'm doing in this demo is I've set aside 4 presets on the Helix, and I'm switching between them. And I'm doing a little bit of stabs, if you will, as well as a little bit of palm muting, trying to find that balance of a sound that I think would sit well, not only in one track, but potentially across a range of tracks. Again, it's not intended to be the meatiest, biggest, most gigantic guitar tone ever, but the idea is when we're crafting pairs of cabinets, placing the microphones, choosing which microphones we're going to place, we're trying to craft something that's going to sit in a particular way. And one of the best ways to kind of see how much you like it is to kind of, in this case, A, B, C, D. Let's take a listen. So that preset utilizes 2 new models for 3.5. The amp model was what's referred to as the Moon T, which is based on the Sun Model T. And the stomp that I was using was the Pillars, which is based on the Earthquaker Devices Plumes, more or less a take on a tube screamer. Together in combination with those different cabinets and whatnot, I was really pleased with the vibe. I wasn't looking for something too heavy, but just enough hair so it would sit in that right place in the track for me. All right, if you enjoyed this video and by chance haven't subscribed to the channel, want to invite you to do so. Don't forget to ring the bell so I can let you know when more videos are going to go online. Also, I do a weekly live stream Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific, youtube.com/Doug Doppler. Look forward to seeing you in the next video or in the next live stream. Thanks again for watching. Cheers.